It's often said that ball players want to be rappers and that rappers want to be ball players. Well, if you're like me, you want it to be both. In high school, I played for the freshman basketball team at Sandy Creek. Well, let me rephrase that. I made the team. While my teammates were playing in the game, I was on the sidelines playing a game of my own. I found myself exercising patience as those on the court worked up a sweat. Maybe basketball just wasn't my thing. I mean, it's hard to find a sense of self-worth when your coach won't even let you drop a single dime in 4 quarters. I mean, come on, if you don't want me to shoot, fine, but at least let me get an assist, maybe a steal. No? Can I at least get a rebound like a newly single girl the week before prom? Speaking of girls, I didn't have any. Hell, I didn't want any. And before you go yelling, gay, that's not it. I was in love with something too mature, too adult for the awkwardly slumped suburban kid I clearly was. Outside of my family and friends, hip hop was the first thing I knew I cared about. In elementary school, Will Smith albums could be seen spinning on the plate of my CD player as I waltzed about without a care in the world. By middle school, I graduated to the echelon of explicit content. You know, the well-seasoned and witty sounds of a searing, hot-headed hip-hop artist straining their vocal cords to convey a message. And no, I don't just mean Eminem, but yeah, him too. See, now I was a bit older, a tad more emotional, a lot more curious, and that much more anxious. I wasn't comfortable, and don't get me wrong, the suburbs of Atlanta served me nicely. My two-parent middle-class household was holding up quite well, yet I just wasn't secure. At least not without an easy-fitting earbud lodged into each one of my audio receptors, securing a soothing stream of sounds carefully being carried through my ear canals. You ever hear music so good your arms garner a gang of goosebumps? If the answer is no, please seek immediate medical attention. Might I recommend a doctor by the name of Dre for your chronic ailments? Before the Beats pill was invented, the good doctor prescribed me a gnarly dose of NWA. And for a kid from Fayetteville, Georgia, that stuff would get you high as Calvin brought us on a PJ to Pasadena. But I didn't smoke, didn't drink, never will, never did. It's not a noble stance as much as it is an artistic one. I mean, Andre 3000 didn't do either when making ATLiens, and that album was amazing. And Lupe once said he doesn't get high because life keeps him at a decent height, and for some reason, I felt that, and still do. Anyway, I didn't speak much in school. It might have been because my jaw was essentially sealed shut by the rubber bands bound to my bright red braces. It also could have been the constant assault of anxiety I found myself under. See, I wasn't popular in high school. I wasn't unknown either. I rest humbly under the snug and heavy hold of social hierarchy. And now in ninth grade, Joshua Blander is no longer just Joshua Blander, or Blender, or Bladder, depending on who's feeling funny that day. I'm now Jocelyn's little brother. Yeah, the senior cheerleader who's soon to win the most attractive superlative is my big sister, and we're now in the same school. Meanwhile, with my big and wide nose, I was whiffing what seemed to be the sweet smell of success. Now, success is subjective, but for me, it was just about being a good writer. And for a few years now, I've been spending every spare moment I managed to find on formulating and formatting the finest rhymes under the Mason-Dixon. You see, Andre 3000 once famously said, "The South got something to say," and boy was I eager to speak my mind. But I'll save those thoughts for later, as there's a good night's rest calling my name, and it's about time that I answer. Until later, peace.